आता mic testing 1 2 3 check. Hello everyone. Welcome to the session by LearnInStudy, Introduction to Git and GitHub. This is my first live stream, so please cooperate and let me know in the chat section if everything is visible and everything is going good.
Twenty seconds delay.
We'll let more people join and then we'll start. We'll start shortly, not an issue. So let us start with today's session on Git and GitHub. Firstly, my name is Anshul Maske and I'm from Rajiv Gandhi College. And this session is introduced by your own LearnInStudy team. The very first thing I would like to tell you in this session is that Git and GitHub are two different things. When I first started Git, I thought, okay, GitHub is a website, and Git is its application, its command line application. But let me tell you, that is not the case. GitHub is an online hosting platform where you can share your codes with other people, whereas Git is a version control system. So why do we need Git? What is a version control system? This session will help us understand all the different aspects of code sharing and version control. So let us start. Firstly, let's start by setting up Git. Now, if you search for Git on the internet, you will get this git scm.com. So SCM is nothing but source code management system. Git helps us to manage our own codes in a way. We'll take an example for that. To start with Git, you'll have to download Git, and after downloading Git, it is a very simple process. You will have to just follow along the installation setup. After that, you will be able to run Git commands in your command prompt. So I have already set it up Git, and if I run git -- version, it will tell me the version of my Git. So now let us first understand, why do we need Git? Consider an example. Consider an example where I'm writing a poem. For example, I'm writing a poem on colors. So I write white, red, black, and green. Now this is my beautiful poem. I might go and save it. And I'll name it poem.txt. So now I feel like I shouldn't have inputted green in here. I can just do Control Z, and it will remove the green from the list. And my poem is to a you can say this is an older version of my poem. Now, what if I wanted to delete white? I would have to do Control Z many times, and then it will clear all this. Then I'll have to rewrite everything. So to keep track of things, we use Git. If you want to go to a previous version where there were only two lines in my poem, I use Git. So let us check how we use Git. Let us now make a simple website. I'll make a project folder here. I'll call it my website. In this website, in this project, we'll make an HTML file. So let us start by creating a new file. Okay, so I have my file here. I have my file here. I'll write, this is my website, and I'll save it. I'll name this test.html. Okay, I'll have to save this. Please let me know if everything's going fine, because I won't be able to keep track of how things are going. So here we have created an website which is named test.html. If I open this website, you can see the contents are on my screen. Now, to initialize an empty repository, we'll have to run some commands based on Git. So make sure you have configured Git. To configure Git, we will have to configure Git using the commands Git Config. So when you start with Git, you'll have to tell who is making the changes. For this, you will have to do Git Config --global user.name, and in the double quotes you will have to input your name. For example, my name is Anshul, so I have already configured Git according to my username. Similarly, you will have to set up your email ID. To set up your email, you have to run the same command, writing user.email, and in the double quotes you will have to give your email ID. And after running these two commands, you will have set up your Git and you can use it. Now you're the author, which the name which is set up in Git will be the author who will make changes. Now let's quickly go to this particular repository, this particular directory. I'll say cd. So I'm in this in this document right now, in this folder right now. To start an empty Git repository, I'll have to type the command Git Init. This init command will initialize an empty repository in the current working directory, which is in my case my website folder. So when I run Git Init, you may observe here a new folder .git is already created. Now this .git folder will track all the changes. Will track all the changes which are being done on the source code. Currently we have only one file, test.html, in our project, so that's good. Now there is a concept of staging and unstaging. Staging, as you may figure out, staging means putting something on stage. Same goes with Git. When you want to commit something, commit in the sense when you want to save all the changes for a version, you'll have to first stage it. To stage it, you'll have to say git add and the file name. Before this, let's try Git Status. This will tell the status of the current repository. On running Git Status, it tells me on master branch there are no commits yet. So this is an empty repository, there are no commits to show. Obviously there will be no commits since I just initialized this repository. Now everything here happening is on my system. There is nothing to be taken or given to GitHub. We have to be specific when we talk about Git and GitHub. Git is system specific. It will control the versions in your own system. When you want to, okay, we'll have a talk on GitHub later. So here it is saying that untracked files. So which to add those untracked files, it is also showing us a hint. Use git add and file name to include in what will be committed. So we can say the command for adding files to staging area is git add and the file name, which in my case is test.html. Now the file test.html is on the stage. That means it is staged but not committed. The changes are not yet saved. So I could say git so okay, we already added. Now we will check the status. Now it says on master branch no commits, yes, that is obvious, and changes to be committed. First it was showing untracked files. Okay, so this was an untracked file. Git was not keeping any account of this file, but on adding it to the staging area, we told Git that this file should be tracked, and now it is tracking that file. Now to commit this file, we'll have to run the command git commit -m, and I'll have to write a commit message. It is a good practice to give really explanatory commit messages, since the other person who will for example, who will take your repository and read it should be able to read it, that what is the commit. So I'll say this is my initial commit, so I'll write initial commit. Okay, so one file changed and one insertion. So there was no file, then I inserted test.html. Now when I input the command git status, you might see on branch master nothing to commit, working tree clean. This means there are no changes in the file. Now suppose I want my website to have a heading, so I could change my code, and I will write this is my heading. Pardon the HTML syntaxes, and if I'm not following, please don't shout on me because I'm not an HTML guy. So we'll close this tag, we'll save it. On saving, we could refresh this website and you will have this is my heading. You will have your heading and your contents. Next, on the git, we will check our git status. So we just changed the file. Okay, so here it shows modified file. The modified file is tester.html and it is not staged for commit. So it is telling us what can we do. We can use two commands here, git add file name and git restore file name. So we'll again commit this file. So we'll say git commit -m, and this time we will commit the message as added heading to my awesome website, and I'll commit this. Okay, first I'll have to stage the changes. So these steps are important, these errors are important, because since the file was not staged, it can't be committed. If you want to change if you want to update your working tree, you'll have to first stage it. So you might remember, for staging we do git add and the file name test.html. Now it is staged but not committed, so we'll commit it. Hope we are live again. Okay, so let's start again. Let's continue with the session. Sorry for the interruption. Now there is a really interesting thing about Git. Whatever changes you have staged, if they are not committed, they will be automatically unstaged. So now my system just crashed, and we have the last thing we did was adding the files. So let us check the Git status now. Okay, so it is saying that test.html is modified. Now we'll say git commit. Okay, for to if you are not sure on which point, like if you are on what version, you can always check git log. This will tell you all the commits which have previously happened. So the current tree is this. So author is Anshul M. What changes did he made is he initially committed the file at this particular date and time. So now I know the changes are not committed. So I could say git commit -m added heading to my website. So now the head is okay. We'll also have a look at this head master. What is it actually denoting? So now I could say git status, working tree is clean. Now if I type in git log, it will tell me all the previous commits which have happened to this file. So first was the initial commit done by me. Second was the commit in which I added heading to my website. Am I like, is everything clear? Voice and everything? So there is a 20-second delay in your like in the stream, so it will take some time. Okay, continuing with the topic. So now we have two commits. The actual thing about commits is, we'll have a look at commits. Hope so my PC doesn't crash again. So whenever you are working on a project, you'll have it as a repository. You'll have it as a repo. Now, whenever you are committing or you're making changes to your file, it will be added as snapshots. So this was my initial commit. This was my initial commit. Next, I added heading to my website. So this was the second snapshot, which added heading to my website. Pardon for the handwriting. So this is my current working tree. Now, there are like, this is a simple project, so there are no branches and nothing fancy to work about. If you're working with branches, so suppose this is your tree and you're continuously committing changes in your tree and you want to test out a new feature. So that's where the part of branches come in. So for example, if you want to save this snapshot and after this you want to add some new feature, you want to test some new feature. So you will create a new branch and you will test your feature here. And if it, so let's write feature here. And if this feature is successful, you can merge this branch in your head, in your main repository, so that nothing in your main repository changes. The code in your main repository stays the same. For example, suppose the feature does not match, or it does not comply with the standards of your application. You can just drop that branch, so it will no longer be interfering with your code. So this is the thing about Git. Git is a version control system. So if you have any doubts, please go ahead and like put it in the chat section. I'll make sure I'll read them and try to figure them out. So this was about Git. Now, many people might be thinking, if this is Git, what is GitHub? So it's like whenever you are making a project and you want to share it with someone, and might be that person might be far away from you. In that case, we have this uh, open source website known as GitHub. It is like primarily we can say it is half open source because it also has some premium features. So this is where GitHub comes into action. Whenever you're working with some project and you want help from other people, mostly these are open source minds which are ready to contribute in your project. Shortly we'll invite our friend Mayank and we'll test this feature, which features of GitHub, which will tell us more about forking a repository, cloning it. So what is all these, we'll also discuss this. Hope till this point everything is clear. Also, one point I would like to add. So whenever you commit new changes, the head will shift from, so when you initially committed, the head was on this repository, sorry, on this snapshot, which was the initial commit. When you committed the second time, which was the added heading commit, the head shifted to this snapshot. Next, if you add more commits, the head will keep shifting down. So currently, when I say git log, it is telling me the last commit is added heading to my website, and this is the current head of my repository. So any changes I make will be made in this particular snapshot. If you have any doubts, please feel free to comment. So hope till this point everything is clear. If everything is clear, we'll move on to GitHub. So these are the bare minimums you would require to start open source projects and contributing to open source projects. These are the bare minimums. Whenever you make a repository, push it online, push it on GitHub, there are many various hosting services which are giving this ability to host your repository online. So GitHub is one of them. Now let's go with GitHub. To start with GitHub, you'll have to create a new account on GitHub. Whenever you go to github.com, you will have your all repositories, your all feeds in here. So you'll have to make a new account, and then you will be ready to start doing open sourcing and everything you want to do. Now, to start a new repository, we'll have to click on this button which says new repository, and I'll name this repository as my open source my open source website. So if anyone wants to change anything in my website, they would be able to change things in my website, and they would be able to, so they won't be able to change, but they will be able to suggest changes in my website. So this is a public repository. You can also choose private if you want to keep your projects up to you. And then you have to create repository. What this will do is, this will initialize an empty repository with the name of my open source website on GitHub on your particular account. So this repository is currently empty. GitHub is also showing us some commands like quick setup. If you have done this kind of things before, you can do this, or create a new repository on the command line. What we just did is this: we just created a new repository on the command line using Git Commit. So here are all the commands: Git Init, Git Add, Git Commit, and then these are the things which will be used for pushing your code or pushing your repository onto GitHub. So we have already created the repository. So here's an option for us, or pushing an existing repository from the command line. So to push an existing repository to this particular repository, my open source website, I'll have to copy this command. You can write it as well, no issues, and run it in your command line. For this, make sure you have Git enabled and Git set up properly. Now this, let's see this code. What is this? So here we have the Git command. Okay, so to Git, we are ordering him to add this particular origin. So this is my origin, this is my file test, my website, which is on my computer, and I want to add it remotely to this particular link. And this link will, the Git will automatically resolve it, and it will say, okay, this is GitHub GitHub repository, and I have to push this particular code which is on Anshul's PC to that particular link, which is open source, my username / my open source website.git. So when I press this, press enter, it will add the remote repository as my origin. So anything I want to push will be pushed to this particular link. Now second command you want to run is git branch capital M and main. Okay, so after doing this, this will set the branch as main, as we just saw the tree. So this will set the branch as main branch on the current working branch. It will set it as main, and then we'll have to git push. So we'll have to write the command git push -u origin main. Now this will fully analyze the repository. It will create all the objects of that repository, and it will push it to the online repository. Now since this is successfully, there are no errors as such, so you can now go on to your GitHub repository where the code is just pushed, and you can refresh the tab. Now here you might see the test.html file. This is the file we have been working on. This has been remotely added to this repository, online repository, through the command line. Also here we have functionality which is known as Git history. Here you can see all the commits made by all the contributors. So whoever is contributing to a particular project is known as a contributor in the open source world. So here in this repository there is only one contributor, which is me. now you people might also have heard about fork cloning and pull requests. So we'll also try these things. Till now, if you have any doubts, please go ahead and like make them clear. So if you have any doubts which are common to me, we can read about it more and we'll have to explore it. So this was about Git, and we also saw about GitHub. The setup is pretty simple. I don't think you'll need a setup, but just in case if you need the how-tos of the setup, make sure you join the LearnInStudy group, and there we will be having sessions in which you can discuss some open source projects, and we can configure your PC, everything we can do that there. Next, let's try the clone thing. So my friend Mayank is having some issues with from his end, so we'll have to wait till that time. We'll have to see what is cloning. Now suppose I went to Google and I want a project on, suppose I want a website, so I'll search for website projects and GitHub. Okay, so here are some online shopping website. Okay, that is exactly what I wanted. So here is a code which is already written by this user. Now I want this particular code. There is also a readme file, an online shopping website for purchase of merchandise. User add products to cart, and these all the functionalities are there already. Now I want to suggest a change, or I want to use this code. Since this is an open source code, you can use this as long as you attribute the contributor. To clone this website, you'll have to copy this link, or you can directly download the zip folder from here, but it is always preferred to get it from the link, as you can like manage it. For example, so I navigated to Git tutorials, which was the working directory, and I'll say here git clone, and I'll paste the link. This is not the link, and I'll paste the link which I want to add to my repository. Git clone online shopping website. Okay, so it will go on that particular link, and it will fetch all the files required for this project. Now in my system, there is already created, it has already created one project, online shopping website, so I can just use it now. If I want to make any changes, I can just change the code and I can use it for my sake. So here you can see it is his project, it is not my project. So we just have cloned it and we can make changes. And if we want to like tell that user कि this could be better, like मेरे पास एक improvement है, if you would do this, that would be great. So we can also tell the user that you can make changes in this code, so the user might feel more comfortable and whatnot. So this was about cloning. Now let's talk to Mayank. Okay, so there is some technical issue. Just a second, guys. Okay, we have Mayank with us. So Mayank, are you ready? शुरू करें?
Just wait for 1 minute.
Okay, sure. So there is some issue. Let's, like, I would like to have a discussion. If you want any, if you have any doubts, or please make sure you comment them. We wanted to live demonstrate something, but we have ran into an issue. I don't know why the PCs are crashing. Okay, no issues. We'll try and figure it out for ourselves. For example, there might be an open source project. Now this is another account which I created for demonstration purposes only. Here I'll create a new repository. For example, I'm new to GitHub, so I'm searching for a project to work on or suggest some changes. Now I got this particular okay, so this is another account which I'm logged in from on GitHub. I'll search here for my username, like the other person's username. Now from a different perspective, we are working on our system. We have nothing to do with the HTML file and anything. We are totally different person now. Now let's see, I'm searching on GitHub and I get a really nice project which is okay, I really like this project which is from Anshul Maske, and I'm not Anshul Maske, please don't confuse me with him. So this is my open source, this is a project which I really liked. So what I could do is, if I want to make changes in this code, I'll have to fork it to my repository. So when you hover on fork, you will get a message saying fork your own copy of unch743 slash my open source project to your account. So this is an account which is unch743 test. So I'll just fork this into my account, and now you can see here forked from this particular open source, like this particular repository. Okay, so now this is a project which is done by Anshul Maske. Now I checked his project and I thought this is not correct. I want to make some changes. You should not write simple lines in your HTML file. You should always convert them or you should always encase them in a tag. So what I'll do is new, this is my other perspective. Pardon me if it's confusing, but you'll have to be a some. Okay, so this is another perspective. Now in this repository, this is an empty folder, and I want to clone that particular website which is created by Unch743, and I want to make some changes. So I'll say I want to clone wrong window. Okay, so I'll say I want to clone this particular repository into my system or my computer. So what I could do is, here I could copy this link and I could put it in the git clone command. Now what this will do is, for me it will create the open source project in here. So okay, I'll say, now please ignore this part. Git config. @email.com. So now in this particular repository, if I check the logs, git log, I want to check who contributed in this. So the perspective, okay. So here it is telling me someone named Anshul Maske has made 2 commits on Sunday. Now I want to make some changes in this file. For example, in the test.html file, I don't like how he writes, "This is my website." I want to change it to a paragraph tag. So I could do paragraph, and also here I'll say paragraph, and I'll also add some heading here, and I'll write hello from the other side, and we'll close the tag. Now we'll save it. On the command line, we will again run git status. Here you might see the test.html file is modified. So now I'll have to add it to the staging area. So there is a little secret. Rather than adding single files to your staging area, you could do git add and insert a dot. This will add all the files which are in the folder. So when you say git add, it will add all the files to the staging area. In this case, we have only one file, which is test.html file. And then we'll say git commit on the main branch, and we'll say changed the paragraph to p tag and added another heading. So I'll commit this, and all my commits are now saved. Now even though my commits are saved on this particular, on my PC, they are not committed on the GitHub repository. You might still see here the code is, this is my website and this is my heading and this is my website. So now to push this website, to push this local repository to the origin, so where I cloned it from, where I forked it from, I'll have to say git push origin head main. So what this will do is it will push the current snapshot of the repository. Okay, failed to push, some refers to okay, so this is because I have I just changed the author and it is saying the permission is denied to use. Okay, I'll have, so these kind of errors are also important. Let's just copy this and search over the internet and look at what we get. So it is important when you are learning something new, it is important for you to go over on the internet and check for your errors rather than quitting right away. Okay, Kunal has, Atharva has something to say. No, that is, if I'm not wrong, failed to push some ref. This comes when permission denied, it says. Post public key is not in your GitHub SSH key. Check for branch name, use main branch first. Okay. So I hope I'm on the main branch. Am I not on the main branch? Your GitHub. Okay. Name on your GitHub. Okay, so let's try this. Git push origin main. No, it still says permission denied. This error might be occurring due to me doing same things from the same computer, because this was supposed to be a collaborative thing. Mayank was supposed to do these things on his computer, and he was supposed to create a pull request, or I was supposed to create a pull request. I don't quite understand why this is happening. Okay, I got the issue. This is because this is a new account, and for a new account, you'll have to set a public SSH key in your GitHub account. So you can add a new public key via the settings page, or you can clone this repository via HTTPS. So let's try this. And adding SSH to GitHub. So this is a really interesting error we got here. It's like nice that we got this error. It is saying you don't have any public SSH key in your GitHub account. So this is why it is happening. It is saying that permission is denied. Let's add an SSH key. In order to use SSH with key with Git, you must first create git pull rebase git push. Okay, let's try this. Kunal is saying telling an command. Current branch main is up to date. Then git push. So like Atharva and Kunal, this is happening because I don't have a public SSH key, and there is nothing to do with the commands. So let's first try it. SSH. Since that is a new account, I'll have to run this, I think. Error connecting to inbox. Okay, so here I have the SSH key ready. .ssh. Okay, we are already in the SSH key. Is invalid. Open SSH key. I thought so. Just a second, guys. Also, Mayank is trying to connect with a new device, so let's hope he connects as soon as possible. Till that, let's try to resolve this issue. So .ssh. So this is the private key. Okay, this is done. Now let's try doing git push. Sorry for the error, guys. I didn't expect it to happen. Permission denied, it says. No, still the error exists. Okay, we have Mayank with us. Hello, Mayank. Mayank,
Hello.
हाँ ओके मयंक, चलो शुरू करते हैं फिर।
Yes. I have joined from the mobile. Anshu, please, can you give me 1 minute? I'll try to connect from the laptop.
ओके श्योर श्योर। Sorry guys for the interruption.
All right. My screen is visible. Anshu.
Yes. Okay, let's go with Mayank's PC. Let's not try doing the same stuff from the same PC. Okay. Now Mayank, can you create a new project so that we can demonstrate what is fork in GitHub? Yes, Mayank.
Hello. My screen is visible.
Yes. So can you create a new project?
All right. I've just installed the Git in this PC right now.
Okay.
So this is fresh. Yes. All right.
Okay, so that will be good for the users too. So have you configured Git by giving the username and ID, email ID? You can name it my project or anything. So open Notepad and make an HTML file here. In the chat, please tell me if Mayank is audible.
All right.
Okay.
Done.
So this is Mayank's website, which is named test.html. Now, so it is saying hello. Now let's go to your command line.
Okay.
Now you might want to run git -- version. So here you might notice his git version is 2.3.1, which is okay. Now write git config -- global and here are all the commands which we can use with git config. So please write git config user.name and in double quotes write your name. Git config user.name.
Fine.
Yes, and also git config, not in a git directory. Okay, you'll have to first make it a git repository. Git init, you'll have to write git init. Okay, now let's try git config user.name. Okay, and git config user.email. So this is a fresh install where Mayank is configuring his Git. You might want to follow him, and similarly you might want to configure your PC as well. Sorry for the long session, guys. There were some technical issues. Okay, so Mayank has set it up his Git. Now also he has initialized an empty repository in his my project folder. Now Mayank, go ahead and add the file on the staging area. You can also do dot or test.html. Okay. Now you might want to commit it with your initial commit -m and then commit message. Okay. So now can you please run git log? Now as you can see, Git has Mayank has committed his first commit and all the details are given. Now Mayank, go to github.com. Now let's try pushing this repository online. So this is a demonstration we are giving for forking projects. So here he will log into his GitHub account. Okay. Now this is Mayank's dashboard where he has some repositories and he wants to create a new repository for his project. So Mayank, could you create a new repository? Okay. So here you might notice it is giving a warning. It is not an error, it is a warning that your repository will be created as my dash project. So this is a common nomenclature followed by GitHub so that there are no white space mistakes in the while inputting any names. Mine, go ahead and create the repository. So on his account, he has a repository named my project, which is currently empty. Now he already has an existing repository, and to push it from the command line, he will say git remote add. And you can just copy the command. Yes. Try right clicking on the command line. Okay, I think you'll have to write. Okay, yes, yes. My yes, P is capital.
Correct.
Yes. Okay, now you'll have to write git branch main. And then you'll have to push this repository. Origin does not appear to be a Git repository. Okay, origin. Monk, press the like up button on your keyboard. Once again. Once again, once again. Once again. So that origin is missing an N. Yes. Now you'll have to git branch main. Git push. It's asking for your username, Mayank. So it is Mayank6 slash dash mg. So if you're on a newer version of Windows or Mac, you'll get a prompt in which you'll get a new window for login. Your password.
It's not open.
कुछ हो नहीं रहा है क्या?
नहीं.
Okay, let's wait for a second. Try pressing Control C. Okay, now try git push origin main. It will ask for your username. password. So to all the guys who are watching, these are the steps you will need to configure your Git.
Correct.
Okay. Now refresh the GitHub tab. You can see the test.html file is created, pushed on the GitHub repository. Now Mayank, can you send me your project GitHub link in the chat? Okay, thank you, I received it. Mayank will get back to you soon.
Okay.
So now Mayank has created a project, and let's visit the page first. So here you will have access to his code. You cannot make changes. If you want to make changes, you might see here, fork this project and edit the file. You can't directly edit the file since you obviously won't have access, since it is Mayank's file. To make changes, you'll have to fork this project. So rather than doing it from here, I'll press this button. I'll fork it into my GitHub account. So now you might see here, Ansh743 has this my project, which is forked from Mayank, and I have his commits and I have his files ready. Now I'll clone it in my system. Let's Now I'll clone Mayank's repository in my system using git clone. After cloning this repository, I have Mayank's code ready in my PC. So here you might see my project. This is Mayank's project, which is forked from GitHub into my PC. So now I might see check out his code, and I might say okay, he has done something and got the output as hello. Now I might want to tell him that you should never write lines like this. So I'll enclose this in paragraph tag. I'll save it. And now in my command line, I'll first go to that project folder. I might check Git Status. So here there are some modified files. So I'll say, okay, I might also want to see who committed earlier on this file. So I might write git log. Okay, so some person named Mayank has committed his first commit. So now I can write git add dot, which will add all the files. In this case, there is only one file. Git add dot, and then I'll commit it. Git commit, and I'll say added paragraph tag. I'll commit it. So there are my commits. Now if I check my log, so okay, so Mayank committed his first commit, so the head was on his commit. Now this is important. This is the concept I was talking about. So the recent commit is my commit, which is added paragraph text. Now this is the head of the repository. Any changes which will be done through this snapshot. So an interesting fact, this is the hash code which are all the which consist of all the changes, and if you want to go to a previous snapshot, you can just go to the snapshot by copying this and telling the git command to revert back to this particular version. So now let's focus on giving this code to Mayank. Now I committed this code but haven't pushed it on GitHub, so I'll have to push this to the origin. So I'll say git push origin admin. Hope we don't get any errors here. Okay, we didn't get any errors. Now in my account, I have a repository named my project, which is forked from Mayank. So here you might see my changes, the changes I have done. I have added this paragraph tag to the code, but in Mayank's code, let's check out Mayank's code also. But in Mayank's code, there are no such changes. This is because both when I forked his project, I got a copy of his working tree into my account. That was just a copy. Now, if I want to suggest changes in his file, I'll have to do a pull request. Now to do a pull request, here you have this functionality known as pull request, and this branch is one commit ahead of Mayank's. So I committed once, I added paragraph tag. So obviously Mayank's branch will be one commit behind. So I'll create a pull request. Here you might see from which repository you want to merge to which repository. So I'm making a pull request from my project, which is in my account, to Mayank's project. Now I can say, see, if you see here, you might see all your changes, and if you think all the changes are correct, you might create a pull request. So the title will be added a paragraph tag, and I'll also suggest Mayank. I'll say, hey Mayank, always use p tags to write something on the screen. So this is a change I suggested. Like, ignore my HTML skills, I don't have any such knowledge. So I'm suggesting him always use p tags when you write something on screen. Now I'll say create pull request. Okay, it will check if there are any conflicts. So this is also a very deep topic in Git and GitHub version control system. Now let's go back to Mayank. Hello Mayank.
Yes.
So you might refresh your GitHub tab. Now here you might notice pull request has one notification. Mayank, please click on it. Okay, so Mayank might see my commit. Mayank, click on it, please. He will be able to see everything, like who did this commit. Unch743 wants to merge one commit. So the first line, added paragraph tag. So I suggest him a change. Hey Mayank, always use p tag to write something on screen. So he got to know that in HTML we do things like this. So he can merge my pull request by clicking on the merge pull request button.
Should I?
Yes. And he can also comment on it, like thank you for the commit and looking for further changes, and he will comment it. So that was this is a thread. Now mind show your code, like go into your code. So here you might see test.html is updated, but it is with a p tag. So this p tag is added by Unch743. So mine, could you click on the history right upper corner?
History.
Yes. Here you will see all the changes that are being done on this repository. So first Mayank committed 19 minutes ago, and then Ansh got to know that this person is doing something and I wanted to contribute. So Ansh743 committed something. So this is how the open source community grows. Anyone who wants to contribute may help others. And if Mayank doesn't like my changes, he might also say like, okay, we don't need this change right now. So that is not an issue for me too. I tried my best, and also other people can see that you tried to commit something, or you tried to add something to Mayank's project, and if they like the commit or they like your changes, they can also clone it in their repository. So this was about forking. So thank you, Mayank.
Yes. Thank you.
Now let's end this call with Mayank. Hope everyone got a hint, got a taste of Git and GitHub. I know it was not an excellent session, but still, like, you might have gotten what is Git and GitHub, why do we use it. If you have any queries, please do comment. Thank you for joining today's session. It was a pleasure. And to all the guys who are still in the live session, I have a simple task for you. Let's just go and check out my account. I'll share the link. So here is a so here is a repository which I created recently. You might want to go clone it, fork it, make your changes. The changes you would like to make is leave a feedback there with your name and the feedback. Make sure you comment it, make sure you give it on a new line so that everyone has their feedbacks, and make a pull request so that I can accept your pull request, and this would be a way to show your gratitude. And thank you for joining this session. If you get confused at any time, you may like to rewatch the video where we cloned the repository from another person and made the changes. Thank you for joining, guys. Do join the LearnInStudy WhatsApp group so that we can have further interactions, or any doubts you want to get clarified, or if you want to tell me something which I got mistaken in today's session. It was a pleasure to see you lovely people join. Thank you.